So I finally get the basket analogy.
It takes a little bit, doesn't it?
Finally.
Yeah. Thanks to everything that went on here.
Yeah. So many good conversations. I have a great life. I place my basket far out for some topics, reachable, but far out enough where I feel satisfied in the manifestations.
We're going to interrupt just for a little bit and say, let's find some new words. I place my basket, kind of a weird thing to say. I believe my expectation is here. I believe my expectation is here. Because your expectation is as much as you can let in. You can't let in more than your expectation. So the placing of the basket is, my expectation is here. And it might not be in the best place ever, or even in a very good place, but knowing where it is gives you an opportunity to move it then. My basket is here. My expectation is here. It was just the best opportunity to put that clarification into the conversation.
Yeah, that's great. I think I came to that realization during one of the conversations, the woman who was talking about her job. I do have a couple topics where I place my basket like right here. And my question is, how do I shift that?
Well, isn't it interesting? So we're talking about the placing of a basket, and then you demonstrate, I placed my basket in a place that doesn't feel good. I don't expect this to turn around. So that's worth asking the question, what's up with that? And the answer is, it's just a habit of thought, and it can be easily moved. But the thing that we've noticed has to take place before most people are willing to move a basket from a place that doesn't feel good, move their expectation from being pessimistic to optimistic, move their expectation from something that doesn't feel good to something that feels better, is they just finally had enough not feeling good. Finally. It really is that I give up moment. I'm giving up the battle. I'm giving up the struggle. I'm giving up the trouble. I'm giving up the resistance. You're not giving up your desire. You can't do that. You can't give up your desire because your inner being's got hold of it, and your inner being is the largest part of you. So you can't give up your desire, but you certainly can give up the struggle or the battle or the discomfort, or just give up the orneriness. I'm so tired of being afraid of what's coming, or I'm so tired of being mad at stupid stuff that stupid people do. I'm so mad at injustice. I'm so done with that. No, you're not. I'm so done with that. No, you're not really. I'm so done with that. No, you're not really done with it. So sort of coming to those decisions, and then focus usually follows. Once an intention has been stated and you've primed the pump for it a little bit, usually focus follows. And then you're off and running. We always say start with the easier things and prove to yourself how easy it is to do it, but hardly anybody starts with easy things, because the law of attraction doesn't let you start with something you haven't thought that much about. The law of attraction is going to bring to you the thing that's most active in your vibration. So, yeah. So now we'll let you talk.
How do I shift my belief system maybe to be more selfish? And I know I attracted this. I had an interaction with a woman who called me a privileged older white lady. And that really kind of hurt. I don't know why it hurt. Like, I knew she was out of the vortex.
Because she wasn't giving you credit for your point of attraction. She was assigning something else to you and justifying her insecurity and her lack of having what she wants by making the way you went about it wrong in her perspective.
Right.
That's why leaving the peanut gallery out of everything is really helpful.
Yeah. Okay. That's all I
Esther
wanted.
bought a new car. It's a little car, smaller than the big SUV she's been driving. And so on the first and second days that she was driving it, she got honked at. It was just astonishing because Esther sees herself as a really good driver. She'd gone to the focus. She'd focused herself into getting comfortable in the car and making sure that she had her mirrors adjusted and so forth. And Esther made a bad lane change and didn't know it. And a very young and alert driver swerved, and so Esther didn't hit her. And then she rolled her window down and read Esther the riot act. Esther rolled her window down to say, sorry about that. And Esther was told off in no certain terms with every expletive that you can imagine to fucking learn how to drive, you stupid old woman. Yeah. And Esther thought, I'm a really good driver, and didn't even realize what had happened. She didn't realize that she'd made a bad lane change. From her perspective, that car was not there. And then a day later, a similar thing happened, and Esther realized that she had her mirrors adjusted so poorly. They were so much smaller than she was used to, and they were way too close to the vehicle and not far enough out to see what was going on. And so she felt such appreciation for this girl who seemed to be so out of line to speak to Esther in that way, but it so got Esther's attention that she adjusted her mirrors and might not have. Esther was so sure that she was in the right, but there was something about the intensity of the fury that it was exactly what Esther needed. It was exactly what Esther needed to correct where she was. And we want to say to all of you, don't be uncomfortable or shy away from or be unwilling to be corrected about where you are. That's what negative emotion is. It's helping you to realize that you're disallowing something that you intend or something that you want. And so, as Esther's been driving around, it's a big city, and Esther wouldn't recognize this person if she ever saw her again. But she's got a vivid picture of her in her mind, and Esther feels such appreciation for the clarification that it brought. You just can't get it wrong, and you never get it done. You can't get it wrong, and you never get it done. And in this land of co-creation, which is what you all are with all the other billions of people that you share it with, you're really wanting to have exposure to lots of experiences. Esther's first restating, but no, I'm a good driver. As she was told, learn to drive. But I am a good driver. If Esther had had more time, she would have shown her pictures of the monster bus and the car that she towed behind it, and the fact that she's never had an accident, not one time ever, and never gets any dents or damage. It was just incredulous what she was saying as she was telling the truth to Esther about that particular moment in time. So on your way to so much more, there's all kinds of clarification that's coming to you. And as you embrace it all, you'll have a happier time. Yeah?
Yeah.
Something else? Or something more?
Yeah, a different question. I came to the realization that I need to end a relationship, and my biggest fear about doing that, and I haven't taken action, is because I don't want to hurt this other person.
Well, anytime you feel fear, you're standing in the wrong place to take any action at all.
Right.
When your basket's in a fearful place and you take action, nothing good comes from that.
How can I soothe myself to...
Well, what else do you feel other than fear? Because it's just like Esther's not always a bad driver, just that time, and the next day too. It's sort of intermittent. Are you ready to proclaim that that's the only emotion that you have about that subject? Well, then wait until you find another emotion that feels better, and then acknowledge that that's where your basket is, and then start there and grow from there. You don't want to add to anything that feels bad, and you do want to add to anything that feels good. That's why on the emotional guidance scale, right here, can you put it up on the screen? There's a tipping point right here at contentment, between boredom and contentment right there. There's a tipping point, because from the bottom up, from the worst feeling, like fear, coinkydink right there, all the way up to anger, and further up to disappointment, and further up, any of those that you feel, as you feel better, it's less resistance, less resistance, less resistance, less resistance, less resistance. But the emphasis on the resistance. Once you reach this tipping point, then it's more and more and more and more and more and more and more. So you get what we're getting at here. You want to reach as far as you can reach without lying to yourself. Because if you claim yourself somewhere that you're not, you don't get any movement. But if you can find a place, it's not the best place in the world, but we'd far rather see you in revenge than in fear. Because think about it, wouldn't you rather be in revenge than fear? Don't act on it, it'll just get worse. But if you're in revenge, you've taken some of your power back. You're more in control. So it's like that.
Yeah, thank you.
Yeah. You see, the expression between a rock and a hard place is really what you've got going on here, because it's like, I want something that I can't have. Even though we're trying to call you for, I want something that I can't have. And we so appreciate you being here, and we don't even mind wrapping up this way, because this is what everybody's wanting to overcome. This is the whole point that we've been making for the whole hours that we've been together. You have to shift the way you feel if you want your life to shift. So is it an age thing that's making you?
No, it's a financial situation. So a lot of things happened, which made me have to go back to doing that again, because what I'd like to do takes a lot of income, which I didn't have any longer. So
you see that you're caught in a sort of endless loop. In other words, and what you're helping us say more clearly than we've ever said it before is you can't drag things that are not working into this moment in time where you're wanting to curate your point of attraction. Esther likes that word, curate. She likes to be in a furniture store where they've curated lovely things, gathered up the lovely things. The lovely things have been gathered so that she has a really strong probability of finding something that she really likes in this place that's been well curated. You want to curate your attitude. You want to curate your mood, which means you want to look for fun things like playing with your dog. You want to look for things of freedom like being out in the remoteness where you have a lot of land. You want to look for feelings of fresh air, which apply there. You want to fixate on the people in your life that are right there with you and believing in you. In other words, there's a whole lot that you could do. What is it? We really want to know. We know, but we really want you to know. We want to know, which means we want you to tell us what you know about it, because you knowing this is really going to help you, even though we already know. We really want to know why anyone talks to us in an attitude of pleading or negative expectation. It's more than just habit. Has it worked for you? Does that work?
Not.
Well, it's not working for you here because we're like your inner being. And we are stubbornly not willing to empathize or sympathize. Or what were your words when you sat down? You said something like, everybody will probably relate to this.
A lot of folks might relate to this.
A lot of people will probably relate to this. And after hours and hours and hours of us suggesting that relating to those things will never serve you, and we don't mind taking the time, they're a really nice group, and they're restless but getting something out of it anyway, because they too often argue for their limitations, and you are demonstrating that. So, as we said, we're not leaving until you argue for what you're wanting. Advocate for what you're wanting. Advocate for what you're wanting.
I want to be happier than I am now. I want to be doing something in my life for the rest of my life that I enjoy more than I'm doing now. Not that I don't enjoy what I'm doing now.
So did you feel the want it and don't want it of that statement? I want something that I enjoy for the rest of my life. I want something that I enjoy, but not something that I don't enjoy. Now, that's all part of the framework. In other words, you have to know what you don't enjoy to know what you enjoy. But when you get the word enjoy or the feeling enjoy, so then you want to try to ride that train just a little bit. So ride that train just a little bit. Things that I enjoy, such as?
Things that I enjoy, such as being with my loved ones, having the time to spend with my loved ones.
Now wait, because that was a double-edged sword. When someone asks for freedom or time, they're talking about not having had enough. And so, can you feel what we're getting at? So, having more time, or some time, or more time, or delicious time. Sometimes, when you're thirsty, doesn't taking a big drink of something feel extra good? And isn't there something almost satisfying about having been a little thirsty? Same with hunger. And so this is like that. In other words, you haven't had a lot of time to spend with your loved ones, but if the expectation is, I don't have enough time, I've never had enough time, and I want to be really careful about what I choose because I don't want to be in that place of not enough time, that gets you nowhere. The first thing you would pick is something with no time. But what do you mean? You want some quality time.
I'd like some quality time.
Just some quality time. What do you think makes the quality? It's your focus that makes the quality. If you're in a fearful mood or in a bad mood, there's no quality time, there's just time.